About ready?
Just about. Waiting for that 3 o'clock mark.
Sounds good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Google Education on Air. This is the workshop, All the Answers in Google Sheets, with your presenter, Crystal Ho. Crystal is a Technology Integration Coordinator at Hopkinton Public Schools. She is a Google Certified Educator, Trainer, and Innovator. My name is Mike Wolf, and I'm the Tech Manager here at Hopkinton Public Schools. I'm also a Google Certified Administrator. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask along. We'll try to get to them as soon as we can, and if any questions go unanswered during the presentation, we'll be happy to answer them afterwards, so stick around. And now, here's Crystal.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, everyone. I'm Crystal Ho. And just to get you started, hopefully you were able to click on the resources that are online, and I'll show you those, and we'll get started in a second. So, as Mike said, I am a Google Educator and Certified Trainer and Certified Innovator, and it's been amazing. I started off it with my certified badge, and I started small with our school, and then I kind of grew from there, and I would present with our faculty, and then I'd start doing regional conferences, and then I really connected with a lot of Google certified educators and trainers, and it really made me have this huge network, and it's been pretty amazing. I get to travel all over to many schools. Today we're having a Google Summit at our school, but I also get to travel with EdTech team, and we just have so much fun, so hopefully you'll get to join us online or at one of our summits. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to be talking about Google Sheets. So in Google Sheets, I'm going to be teaching a lot about the basics, and if you're more advanced, then hopefully you get some cool tricks as well. Michael's going to moderate the questions. We'll do our best to answer them, and if I don't do it live, I'm sorry. We can definitely reply back to you via the chat afterwards. So definitely input those questions as you go. So let's get going. Share, here we go. So hopefully you got on to our first resource, and that's our Education on Air, just the main page where you can tweet at me if you want to, and you'll have resources also to easily email me. On the second slide is our agenda for today. So we only have a half hour, so we gotta get a lot in. So first off, I'm going to just show you and get you on the template, which is the URL on the side. Then we're going to learn the basics of sheet functions, because if you're like me, when I started Google Sheets, I was like, I am going to break this sheet, and there's tons of data that's going to go wrong, and I'm going to freak out. And don't worry, I'm going to help you with those. I'm going to show you some really cool tricks that our teachers and our admin are using for conditional formatting, maybe some graphs if we get some time, and some cool add-ons that I'm using. But right now, go ahead and click on the URL over on the right, or type it into your Omnibox in Google. It's case sensitive, so make sure you have that capital M at the beginning and capital N at the end. Feel free to use a QR code if you're on your phone and you just want to check it out and see what we're doing, or you can come back to it at any time as well, okay? The following, the end slides on this slide deck are just more information for you about connecting with me, and also other Google information about certified badges. So if you get into the spreadsheet that I have linked you on, and it looks like a lot of you are hopping on, good job. Go ahead and come over to the top right-hand corner. So if you come over here, you should be able to file, make a copy. So way over here, that make a copy feature is really handy, because I'm giving you my notes and my copy of all these awesome ideas. You make a copy and you can start typing on it and manipulating it. You're not messing with mine, so don't worry. So go to make a copy of your own, title it whatever you want, and it'll save right to Google Drive. Okay, once you're done, you can get out of mine, just close right out, it's no big deal. Okay. So I have this fake data in here, and typically we get a lot of our data from Google Forms, and if you don't know a lot about Google Forms, they're amazing, especially in education, but even in my personal life. So all the data comes into a spreadsheet, and now I can kind of play with it and have some fun with it. So over on the left-hand side, I'm just going to show you some of these basic functions. So feel free to follow along with me. We're going to play a little bit once you make your copy. So make sure you make that copy first from the template. Okay, so first up, we're going to practice just moving the basics. Can we move cells? Can we move rows? Things like that. So first off, what I'm going to do is click on the letter E. And as you can see, the letter E, it highlights the whole entire column. And my little pointer turns to a hand, and it lets me shift the information as I am dragging and dropping it. So if I switch it, then I can easily drag and drop. To the right of the letter F, if you notice, there's a tiny itty bitty little arrow, and there's all these hidden little arrows everywhere. That's actually a drop-down menu when you click on it. So as you click on it, look at all these great features that we have. So I can easily insert a column to the left or to the right. Maybe I just want to delete or clear this whole column. It's all right here. Sometimes I like to hide columns when I'm presenting. Maybe I have student information and I'm presenting to the staff. I can hide those names during that time. Or I can easily sort. So for example, here's my student names. Maybe I wanted to sort them really quickly, A to Z. Don't worry, because when I shifted it from A to Z, that alphabetizing it, all that information is moving with that student. You didn't break the sheet. It's okay. So feel free to practice sorting. All right, so I just did that sort A to Z, sort Z to A. You can do it either way. Another feature that you can do is that insert column to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a column. You can choose right or left. We're just going to play with it. So now I should have an empty column, and it looks like these words are kind of crossing over into my free cell. So you can actually move these just by sliding the column. But what I like, when you select those words or the whole entire column, there's this nice little feature with the arrow way up here. And it's letting you, right now it's in overflow mode. That means it's flowing into all my other cells, and I don't like that feature. So I can easily wrap the information at any time, or I can also clip the information so it doesn't go into my other cells. That's handy too, because say you asked an essay question to your staff or your students, like this one over here, I can easily, right now it's clipped, but if I wrap it, it's so much easier for me to read it. So go ahead and try it on your own. Overflow makes a big, huge mess, but you know, what can you do, okay? So next feature that I like is the fill feature. So go ahead and go to your blank column, and this could be anywhere on your sheet, and I'm going to type in the number 1 and hit return. So I'm going to go back and click on the number 1, and when I'm clicking, do you see that tiny little blue square at the bottom right-hand corner? If you hover over it, your arrow should turn to a plus sign. That means that I can drag that plus sign all the way down, and that's my fill feature, which is really handy. Now, I don't know why you would want to fill that column with a whole bunch of 1s, so I'm going to delete that. And I want you to try first going 1, 2, 3 by hitting return. And this is the tricky part, so this is where you want to be careful when you're showing people. You have to first click number 1, drag in the middle and highlight down to 3, and then pull your information down. If they don't do it in those steps, then the fill feature won't work. But once you get your 1, 2, 3s, it should fill right down, which is pretty awesome. After you try numbers and you're like, hey, I think I got this, and remember, this is a video, so you can pause me later anytime and practice. I'm going to delete that and try the days of the week. Now, my teachers love this, especially when they're writing their lesson plans. So I'm going to say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I highlight, then pull, and you can see that it's filling the days of the week. This works with dates if you wanted to try dates. Now, a lot of people would ask me, why are you using 3? Well, typically if you do 2, it's going to just go A, B, A, B when you fill it. So you want to keep that in mind when you're working with it. Okay, so you just practice adding your cell, your columns, you're able to fill, but notice you can do the same thing to the left. So if I click the number 4, I can right click or control click, I'm on my Mac. I can insert things above, I can delete the row, I can grab number 4 when it's selected and I can drag it down. So I have those features that are the same at the top and just moving things around, dragging and dropping. It's pretty easy. So sometimes you need those features just to easily manipulate data. Now, another big thing. Sometimes you have spreadsheets that go and go and go all the way to column AX, for example. Well, If you notice the line, this row that goes across, you have a gray bar going across the top of your screen. That means that line is frozen. And when you're working with Google Forms, it automatically freezes the questions at the top, which is pretty nice. But you can easily freeze and unfreeze. So under the View menu, you have freeze no rows. Right now, my first row is frozen, but I want to try freezing my columns. So this one I highlight is actually a second column. I'm going to click that. Why would I want to do that? Because now I can shift my data to the left and I can see what Crystal got or which class she's in and what grade, etc. So now I have some really cool features just by freezing that. And then I can easily hit undo if I wanted to do that, or I can go to freeze, no columns. And you see that gray bar just totally went away. Pretty handy. Okay, so we practiced that. We know how to freeze. Next up, one of my favorite features is hyperlinking, because a lot of times I'm taking notes in this spreadsheet and maybe I need to hyperlink to a document or something else. So maybe I want this EDU presentation to be linked right on the spreadsheet. All I would have to do is get the shareable link. Now remember, this presentation is already viewable to the world. So I'm just going to copy the URL. That's my shareable link. And I'm in this cell that I was just typing in. I hit the hyperlink up at the top, and then it says, well, I want this text to be linked to what? And so I could easily have it linked to another website, another document or spreadsheet. You can see other ones that I've been playing with, like Breakout. So I can do paste, hit apply. And so that means in that note, this word in this cell links to that document. And so it's coming up into my new tab, which is really handy for me. And that's handy for notes when we're taking like faculty notes and linking to other places. You have it all in one place. Okay? All right. So next up over, oh, yeah, go ahead.
A question.
Sure.
Is there a find button? Someone wants to search for a student in their sheet.
Sure, definitely. Well, typically what I do is I hit Control or Command F. That's my shortcut, and I can find things on the sheet. You should easily be able to find that under your Edit menu as well. You can find things and search for them, but you can also replace. So if I was looking for like all the words salad and I wanted to replace it with pizza, then I can do that as well. Thank you, Mike. All right, next up, you should see some green boxes, and I easily color formatted those with the paint can. I just chose a fun color for you, but I wanted you to see some test data. So when I'm looking at these two different tests, I'm going to show you some really easy ways to get some data when you're working with them. So go ahead and click on your first green box, and up in the top right you should see a sigma function sign. And so I'm just going to click that, and I can choose any of these: sum, average. You don't have to know the whole formula. This is very easy and basic. So maybe I want the average of test A. So if you notice, it's already creating this formula for me, so don't freak out. I just hit a button. Then when I come up to my cells, I want to click on the first test and drag all the way down, if it lets me, to looks like H12, but oh, there we go. It's okay, I can edit it. But right now it says H3 through, that colon means through H11, and I can hit return. But since I missed it and you noticed that maybe a new student was added later on, I can go back into the function and say, well, actually, let's delete the H11 and change it to 12 so it's averaging all of them, and it's re-highlighting it for me. So you can easily at any time manipulate the formula over here, and I'll zoom in a little bit so it's easier for you to see. It's just saying the average of H3 through H12. So you can change these numbers. Maybe you want the average of both tests. You can do that by just changing the columns, okay? So then, if you notice, I could do the same thing over here. I can hit add or sum or average or count, whatever it may be. But check out this quick trick that I learned just by highlighting those cells for test A. Look at the bottom right of your screen when you highlight those. You get the sum and you click on it and it gives you automatically the average, the min, the max, the count. So you have all that information right there. You could do the same thing by clicking on highlighting both of the tests. It's making the sum, the average, min, and max, etc. So you can see this test wasn't so great. It was 74%. All right. So that's a really easy function for you by just either hitting the sigma sign or just highlighting the data, and it just pops right up, which is awesome. All right. So next up, I have all this information for you over here on the right, and I want to play with that. So actually, I'm going to get rid of this column F so you can see a little bit better on my screen, so I don't have to be super zoomed in. And when we're looking at all this data, well, typically when I give this data to my administration, they want to see graphs. And they're like, can you just make that a bar graph really quickly? And I'm like, well, actually, I can in 2 seconds, and I'll show you. So when you just click on a cell, it's going to, over in the bottom right, do you see this little gray bubble? It looks like a star, but it might say explore for you as well. When you click on that, it brings up this menu automatically, and I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. And so every single question that I've created is going to give me a graph. So check out this one. It says, how much did you find this video inspirational? And some people said amazing, some people didn't. And it's going by which selections I'm asking. So this one specifically is asking for 3 different parts, okay? You get to choose what bar graphs work well for you, but let's say I really like this count. I can take this one, drag it into my spreadsheet. I'm going to close out of this menu real quick. And it automatically created this awesome graph. But I'm like, you know, I don't need this silly education presentation. I just add that randomly. So there's easy ways to edit this when you're working inside. So when I want to edit it, there's a tiny little arrow again. Don't forget those little arrows. You can easily go to advanced edit, but if you're doing quick edits, you can just click on, for example, the title and say, count of which course section you're in. Well, maybe I just want to say course section. And I can change the font and the color, etc. Okay. When I go into this version of the advanced edit, this really gives me a lot of stuff. So it'll say, okay, I'm going from C1 to C23. Well, I really didn't want C23. Maybe I only wanted to C19. Hit update. Let's see, I don't remember where I put my, oh, I should have went a little bit farther. So look, C12, for example. So let's go back and edit. Let's change that to C12 and hit update. There, it's gone. Yes, we finally got it. So we can see how many classes I actually participate in. Now, in that advanced edit, of course, you can change colors and all these other things. You can actually choose different types of charts, too. So maybe I didn't really want a pie chart and I wanted a different type of graph. I could do that. This little circle one looks great, too. Totally up to you what you want to do. Pretty awesome, though. I love charts. So that was just using the Explore feature. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because you can easily just select data. I'm just highlighting and dragging. And this little button up here is Insert Chart. So I can click on that and choose my own chart. Now look at this. This would be great for my principal. And I'd say, nice little bar graph. Hit Insert. It's there. And he can easily see between the 2 classes. And I can move this around. I can copy this chart and put it on a document. But he can see between the 2 tests how well those kids did.
Hey, Crystal, we have a quick question on formulas.
Okay.
So 2 questions on formulas. The first one is, can you set a formula in a row in your Google Sheet responses from a form and have it apply to incoming data?
Yes, definitely. We can do that, and I'll show you that with conditional formatting in 1 second. Okay. Or if you, for example, set up this average on the far right and you wanted the average to automatically show up, as long as the formula is set up for G3 through G127 already, that formula is going to work, definitely. What was your other one?
And question, can you use the formulas for just a single student instead of a group?
Yeah, I guess it would depend if you wanted to maybe do the average of tests, definitely. So let's say if we inserted a column and we wanted the average of the tests between the 2, and I can see why you might want that. Let's go and hit average. Choose the 2 tests and hit return, because look, it says average between the 2 tests, G3 and H3. I hit return. Average 84, good job, guy. But I don't want to do that function for every single thing. So if you click on it and actually fill, like you just learned, all the way down, you can see the average for every single kid, which is really cool. And so you can set that up even way before they even take it if you wanted to. Any other ones, Mike?
No, that's it for now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is what typically my teachers will set up, like you guys were asking, before kids even take their test or their questionnaire or whatever it may be. They love conditional formatting. So you can set your spreadsheet up with conditional formatting, and then as soon as the answers start coming in, they'll start changing colors, and that's such an easy way to see data in 2 seconds. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and choose the food, and then we can do it with the yeses and nos next so you can have some practice. So with the food, I highlight column D by clicking on D. Now there's a couple ways to do conditional formatting. You can go through the right-click menu, you can go through the format menu, but I like to train with the paint can because who doesn't like to color, right? So I'm going to click the paint can up at the top, and I'm going to just totally bypass all these fun colors and go down to conditional formatting. So I'm going to click that menu. A little screen pops up and it automatically turns green. Well, that's not what I want it to do. So I'm going to say, and don't let this data scare you over here on the right. Right now it's telling me everything in column D is highlighted. Well, great, that's awesome. And next up it says cell is not empty. Well, I'm going to change this in the drop-down menu. And I want it to say, for example, and you can choose any of these, but I'm going to try this one for today. Text contains. So I'm going to click on text contains, and I want to say salad for all those healthy eaters. Good job. Now it already changed into this awesome green color, but I don't want it to be green. That color, I want it to be green with the paint can that's highlighted green. Fabulous. Now, of course, you can hit done there, but if I hit add another rule, change to the word to all those pizza eaters and the color goes to red, shame on them, just kidding, I love pizza, then I can formulate all this. And so this is really handy to have so that everything is pre-populated and pre-colored, so I can say, oh, everyone that ate pizza, good for you. Sometimes when you're looking at conditional formatting, you didn't want that section to be highlighted. You can always edit these by clicking the boxes or trashing them. If you see too many colors and going on and too much going on at once, you just hit the trash can and it'll delete that. Like, I didn't want those to be green. Whoops. Okay. You can also, as it's highlighted, go to format and just say clear formatting. Super easy. Everything will totally go away. All right. So you have conditional formatting, one of my favorite tools. I showed you wrap and clip text. I have some amazing other tabs that I'm going to show you in 2 seconds, but I want to make sure you know the add-on feature. So add-ons there are some great ones, and I use different ones for different things.
Hey, Crystal, before we start on an add-on, we have a quick question.
Okay.
Is there a way to automatically export a row to a Google Doc?
There are add-ons, yes, definitely for that we can talk about.
And we had one question about labels on a pie chart.
Okay.
How would we edit labels on a pie chart on the right?
On the right, if you can't just automatically click on it, then you should be able to do it under Advanced Edit.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so with these add-ons, there's tons of great ones. One of my favorites is Autocrat. And so Autocrat lets you, when I collect all the students' email addresses, and then I want to give them a note and a grade. So let's say, hey, you did an amazing, great job on this idea for your presentation. You got an A. And I want to push this back to them with a template document. And there's instructions on this online. I can easily do that with Autocrat. So all I'd have to do is click on add-ons, run this Autocrat, and it will push it out to all their emails, a separate document with their grade and their notes, which I love. Doctopus is pretty old school. I love it. It's great for differentiation. So I just want to make sure that you can use that one. Flubaroo we've been using a lot for grading. Our teachers love Flubaroo, especially now that's so integrated with Google Forms, and you can hand grade as well. We have Save as Doc, and someone was just asking about that. You want that to go into a Google Doc now. This one, you can choose one row, you can choose the whole entire sheet, and you can have a different document for every single student. Pretty amazing. So go ahead and go to Get Add-ons to search and add. They're all free. You add them once, and they stay onto all your sheets until you delete them. So there's some amazing ones that you can add. Okay, so I only have a couple more minutes left, but I wanted to make sure that you saw some really neat things that we like to use. So under the second tab when you made a copy, there's this thing called Pull Query. And so a lot of times you might take an assessment or give something out to parents or students or staff, and you want to be able to pull just the information that you want. So what I did is I copied and pasted this value, and you can copy and paste it to any new spreadsheet, but you have to understand how it works. So you just copy the first part, the equal query. This part right here is a student submission. You have to have it spelled exactly the same as your tab that you want to pull the information from. So notice mine's missing an S because I don't want it to pull yet. Afterwards, the A through X, that's the information I'm going to be looking for that I want to pull to the sheet. And then it says select where column C equals the word A. So let's look. Column C is right here. So I'm trying to pull it out by class. So that would be so cool for you because you can have class A on one tab, class B on one tab, class C on another tab. So all your classes just automatically get separated as it gets fed into this spreadsheet. So when I do that, check it out. I said where column C equals technically class A. I'm going to change this so you can watch the information flood in. Submissions. There you go. So just with that one little formula, it's pulling everything from the first spreadsheet, but just on this on this tab, it's only class A. So that's really handy for my teachers that are working as a department. They might call it class A, but they might just call it their name. Like we have Mrs. Brooks in science and Mr. O'Connell in science, and so they just choose the teacher and they all have their own tab, which is really cool. So definitely use that. It's amazing. My other quick poll that I like to do is hitting the equal sign. So I can hit equals and just go select something from another sheet, like equals this 83 test A, just so I can play with it. And then I can just pull down the data and get all the rest that it was connecting to. So you just saw these numbers and this information, and I can pull anything that I want over. So just using an equal sign is easy rather than a copy paste. It's just going to keep filling it in. So there's tons of advanced features. These are just some of my favorite ones on this last tab. So I showed you equals to copy. Filtering is really amazing when you have tons of data. This is the little filter view in the top left. And then I love, and this is a new one that I found watching Jay Atwood's. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because you can easily look at people's data and have a little chart right within a cell. And so I copied those in called spark lines. So I can have this little graph, I can have a bar graph, I can easily have a line graph. So these are little charts. So for example, if I said how many were girls and boys in this grade level, I can have a bar graph going back and forth. How many people had A's, for example. So lots of information, easy to use. But once again, so last thing I just want to show you was the filter, because this is a popular one to do and it's not hard to do. So let me get out of that find. So let's quickly create a filter for the people that said pizza. I must be hungry for pizza, I'm thinking. Oh, look, I used salad before, so good job. Okay, so I'm gonna hit create a new filter and you get this really weird black screen and you're like, what's going on? I think I broke it, but you didn't, don't worry. I'm gonna change the title of it to say pizza. And then if you notice, you have these kind of gray bars and such. So you can actually choose with this tiny little blue arrow where it says pizza. I can uncheck all the things that I want to see. Maybe I want to see pizza and pasta for all my Italians out there. And I can hit OK. And it'll only show me the people that said yes to pizza. Good job, Christina. And then I hit close. And that will save there under my little filter guy. Now I have salad. Who said salad? Those couple people. And then I can switch to the pizza people. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring you back for 2 seconds. So hopefully you got something from today. And thank you so much, Mike Wolf, for helping us out. Did we have any last quick questions before we say goodbye?
We have a couple longer questions.
Okay, so maybe we'll reply to those
after.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so last but not least, let me pop back in just so you have all the information from us. There we go, so I'm sharing. There. I know it looks crazy when I share my screen. Okay, So you have the resources for the slide deck. You have the template that you can play with. Feel free to share it. You have my Twitter and my Google Plus and the website with all of my resources anywhere I go. But make sure you check out all the training information just on Google. That's where we're sharing information, where we get trained and learn how to do this step by step. You'll see the level 1 and level 2 badges and how you become certified. My teachers are all about this right now. It's amazing. The Innovator program, we just had that the last hour, so you can hear a little bit more about that. And of course, you'll see the trainer. So thank you guys so much for dropping in, and I hope that you learned something new. So have a good night or day wherever you may be. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.